Happy Thanksgiving.
Get
I'm
stuffed.
thankful for you two.
Yes, I'm thankful for you
Aw.
guys too.
The band.
That
No,
was
the
so-
band. The band.
Oh, I'm
God.
screaming.
You know what? I'm
No, I'm
just-
thankful for you two. I'm thankful
How
for
do I
both of
turn
you.
myself off here?
No.
I'm leaving.
Do you want to play a game?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Here's Johnny.
Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Welcome to Talking Horror with Jamie and Nikisha.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Nikisha, and this is Talking Horror with Jamie,
And Nikisha.
where we share our love for all things scary and talk horror through the lens of human behavior. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Oh, we all got
have
our
our
lenses.
lenses. Nice.
We are ready to talk, and Jamie got this curly hair going on, which is fabulous.
Oh my god, thank you.
Did you curl it
I
yourself?
was too lazy to
Oh.
blow dry it out.
Is that so? Your hair is like naturally kind of wavy.
Yeah, but like there's no consistency in the waves. I was briefly like did the curly girl regimen, but like it just wouldn't do it for
too
me.
much.
I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to do lots of tweaking, and in my 30 whatever years of life, this is the
Oh,
best it's gonna
absolutely.
get.
I mean, but it looks great just like as a natural
Thank you.
wave. I thought
Thank
that you
you.
like actually curled your hair. I wish. Yes.
Nope.
Yes. Anyways, hi everyone. Welcome. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Get
I'm
stuffed.
thankful for you two.
Yes, I'm thankful for you
Aw.
guys too.
The band.
That
No,
was
the
so-
band. The band.
Oh, I'm
God.
screaming.
You know what? I'm
No, I'm
just-
thankful for you two. I'm thankful
How
for
do I
both of
turn
you.
myself off here?
No.
I'm leaving.
I didn't think of that joke till halfway through the sentence. So the sentence was not for the joke, but the joke came after. So I just want you to know that I was
was a
genuine
great
about
joke.
my sentiment.
No, yes,
Mhm.
but it was a great joke, so I applaud you. A
Mhm.
good dad joke, as an actual now dad. So it's perfect.
Thank you. Now it's just a joke.
Now it's just a joke. Fantastic. Well, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you guys are all having all of the foods,
Mhm.
all of the drinks, enjoying all of the families.
No dry turkey.
No dry turkey. We wish you a very juicy turkey and ham.
We
if
wish
like
you the
ham.
juiciest of turkeys.
The juiciest of turkeys. But speaking of family, today we're talking about
Amazing.
because it has to be about the family. Today we're
Yeah.
talking about well, also because Thanksgiving 2 hasn't come out yet. So when that comes out,
Right.
then that's
We
what we'll
did that
cover.
That's what we did last year, right? We did
Yes.
Thanksgiving last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Patrick Dempsey. Oh, gotta love him.
Great movie.
Great movie. But when the second one comes out, we'll do this. So anyway,
Oh, yeah.
today we're talking about the 2001, taking it back, 2001 gothic, supernatural, psychological horror film, The Others.
Los Otros.
Yes. Woo! So many ghosts. But family ghost, because it's Thanksgiving. So this movie was written, directed, and scored by one Alejandro Amenabar, and it stars our fave AMC person, Nicole Kidman.
You know what? I didn't even think about that while watching the movie. That's how like that.
Locked in.
That's so. I was so locked into this one
Yeah.
that
Okay.
like I didn't even think about her in those. I just think of Nicole Kidman as two different performers. There's like
Oh, true.
we actually talked about. We'll talk about this. It's in my notes. We'll get into that. I think that's an
Okay.
important thing to talk about.
Okay, I'm glad you have it in your notes so you don't forget it because I want to hear this. Yes, but it stars Nicole Kidman, Fiona Love Flanagan, which I love that name, Christopher Eccleston, Elaine Cassidy, Eccleston.
He's one of the Doctor Who doctors.
Oh, well, why is it spelled that way?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just
No,
I've
I
been
think
saying
it's
it wrong for years.
Eccleston.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, because it's CLES. Am I wrong? Did I type it wrong? Probably.
It's it's ECCLESTON.
LES, but it's Eccleston.
I think so. I'm like,
Eccleston, maybe? Now I'm questioning everything.
No,
Yeah,
just
I don't
because
know, he's
it's
British.
spelled. Oh, okay.
Damn.
Well, that makes it. That makes sense. He's British. That fixes
Mhm.
it. But yes, him. Elaine Cassidy, Eric Seitz, Alakina Mann, and James Bentley. So heavy spoilers for the others. And Jamie, please hit us with those trigger warnings.
Yes, this movie features ghosts.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yes.
But it also takes place during World War II, and they reference
Yes.
Nazis.
Mhm.
So that's the more serious one. But ghosts. There's also pictures of corpses,
Mhm.
like 19th century dressed up.
Yeah.
References to well, I guess not infanticide, they're children, so but
Mhm.
child murder,
Mhm.
Yes.
as well as suicide. There's some like seances, possession,
Mhm.
a lot of like religious overtones,
Mhm.
light sensitivity.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that's really it. I mean, I don't know if you're
Fog.
driven by that.
If we're
It's
going there,
Yeah,
mentioned.
lots
fog.
of fog. Mm-hmm.
I love fog.
Me too.
Yeah. It just sets the mood. So good.
Yeah, it really does.
Sets the mood for the seance, you know?
Yeah, for real.
I like fog when I'm inside and not affected by the fog.
True. If I
Sure.
have to drive in the fog, absolutely.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
don't like
no.
that.
I
don't
like being
that.
inside my mansion and looking out into the fog in my yard, you know, on my grounds,
Or even
if
just
you will.
walking around your
grounds.
house. Yes.
Yeah, take a little stroll on the property. The fog is really thick tonight, isn't that right, Daxton?
What a great.
And I'm
Is
glad
that a
we
butler?
don't have a text.
Yeah, that's my no, it's my valet.
Oh, okay. That's a great name.
Of
Daxton.
course.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. Any other triggers?
I don't think so. Unless I missed something major.
I don't think so.
That all
Twists.
sounds about right.
Twists?
Very
There's
good
a big
twists.
twist.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Well, before we get into the others, producer Brian has some words for us.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Hi, YouTube. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We're so thrilled that you're joining our family to talk about Nicole Kidman's family. We are everywhere that you are, including TikTok, including YouTube, and
Scary.
including Instagram. Since you last listened to us, I totally forgot about Blue Sky. We need to set that up.
Oh, yeah.
But we are at Talk
I even
Horror
asked you
Pod.
about it.
I know we were going to, and I just completely forgot. That's on me. At Talk Horror Pod, everywhere and anywhere. We do reviews of things we don't talk about here. We just love horror. We're thankful for horror. We're thankful for
Yes.
more.
Horror.
But yeah, find us there. I have a question for you two.
Yeah.
Not the band, for you two, the two of you. What in horror movies, what are you thankful for? What trope, what breaking of a trope, what it could be anything, but what are you thankful for in horror movies, whether it's today or in your youth or you know, anything. It could be anything. I don't care.
That's a great question, Brian. Great question. Great question.
Thank you.
Great question. Great question.
Thank you.
If you're thinking, I have one. You're good? Okay.
Yeah.
I love a jump scare because in you asking that, the first thing that popped up was Smile 2. And
Oh, interesting.
that's just what I loved about it. It's a good jump scare, but I also love a good slasher who has great catchphrases, because then it takes me completely out of it in the sense of like, we're going left. This is going to be cuckoo.
Sure.
And I am here for that ride. So a good slasher with good one-liners before he slashes his victims, and then a movie that has like really, really good jump scares.
Cool.
I'm thankful for. Yeah. What about you,
Jamie?
Jamie?
I'm thankful for just that like found footage is a thing. Like they were like,
yeah.
oh, we can like create stories but like tell it in a way that feels really real.
Yeah.
And I'm very appreciative that it works, because I feel like it could also not work, but there's so many
Yes.
times where it has worked and it's really effective.
Is Creep is a found footage.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Because it was
Mhm.
I scrolled by it and I saved it. It was on some streaming service, but I need to watch that. It's just speaking of found footage. Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
is.
What about you, Brian?
I'm thankful for excellent allegory horror movies,
Mhm.
like The Invisible Man, like I Saw the TV Glow, Babadook, things like that that are its own thing, but you can really read into it a lot more, and it is trying to teach you something at the same time. It's using that to scare you. Those things. And my second one is unpredictable horror movies.
Barbarian.
The the best
Mm.
example I
That's a good
have
one.
right now in current one is Barbarian. Like, you just didn't know what was going to happen next. You just didn't. But it still felt cohesive, whether or not like you like it as much as Jamie and I did. But like, there's just something very, I just really like that. I'm trying to think of any other ones recently that have been as kind of wackadoo as that one. Another good allegory one is Your Monster. Thought that was another really good
Oh.
allegory.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's what I'm. And one more. You know, I'm really thankful for our good boy, our good guy Chucky.
Yeah.
What a delight we had this year watching those.
Truly, yeah. He's a guy.
He's a good guy.
he is a good guy.
Yeah.
Yes. That was nice to revisit as well. Also, I literally just the other day suggested I Saw the TV Glow to one of my friends.
Oh,
'cause
nice.
We were talking about Justice Smith,
Yeah.
and from the because he had saw Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Oh, you need to watch I Saw the TV Glow," because he's our age, and I was like, "You're gonna like it."
Oh, that's great.
Grand. All right. Well, let's get into the others. Actually, have you guys watched anything recently?
I did.
Ooh.
I watched a bear animal attack movie called Backcountry.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's from 2014. It always comes up on like hidden gems of animal attack movies that you haven't seen. I thought it was excellent. I think it's some of the stuff in there is awesome. I think that the two main characters are interesting. He is easily on one of the worst boyfriends list ever. He enters our Hall of Fame. His name is Alex. He is just awful. And she knows, it's interesting because she knows how awful he is, but she's just kind of like drawn into his, I wouldn't say it's an abusive relationship, but like, it's just very interesting. I think she forgives him too quickly. But when she gets mad at him for the things that he did to get them lost and all of that stuff. But some of the bear attack stuff is really good. The acting is really good. I was just really into it. I just think it's a very, very good one of those type of movies. Obviously, like, your enjoyment of it will vary based on the mileage that you get out of animal attack movies. But I thought that all the character stuff around it, as like insane as some of it might be, was definitely better than a lot of other ones. So I saw Backcountry. It was streaming on Netflix. At the time you're listening to this, it was streaming on excuse me, at the time we were recording this, it was streaming on Netflix. I don't know if it's still there if you're listening to this others episode in 2 years from now.
Right.
How's the future? How are things? I
I
hope
don't-
that the future's treating you well. That wasn't to you, Brian. That's to
Oh,
our listeners.
oh
To
yeah,
the
yeah, oh
listeners,
yeah,
To this in
oh
the
yeah, yeah.
future.
Hey, I was
Hey,
like,
future.
that doesn't make sense. I'm here with you now.
No, the listener. We hope that everything is okay.
We hope the future is safe and
treating you
fine
kindly.
and
Yes.
And not a dictatorship.
let us know.
You know.
Yeah,
Right,
if you
right.
get this in the future, 5 stars and leave a comment.
Yeah, 5
Right.
stars. Be like, what a good episode from 2 years ago.
Right. Oh, that's good. Fantastic. All right.
Whew.
Well, let's get into the others, but we need a plot summary.
What's the plot?
So, Brian,
All right.
Plot summary.
I
producer
practiced this in my head,
Brian.
but I don't know if that's good enough.
I'm sure it's going to
Well-
be great.
I will tell.
All right.
All right. Are you ready, producer Brian, to give
Yes.
us 2 minutes of the others of Los Otros?
Yes.
C. All right. Ready, steady, go.
As previously mentioned, this movie takes place in 1945 on a little British island off the coast of France, again between France and England, called Jersey. Nicole Kidman plays a mother. Her name is Grace. She has 2 young kids who are sensitive to light, so they have stayed inside. Her husband has gone away to war, fighting World War II. They have not heard from him since. She knows deep down that he is dead, but can't admit it, and the kids are kind of asking her when he's coming home. The older daughter kind of knows. The younger son is still hopeful. Anyway, their servants have left, and this house is kind of empty. There's a lot of fog. Real big gothic vibes, as Nikisha mentioned in the description of this. 3 servants come to the house and say that they're the new servants, and so she takes them on as their servants. We learn that they had worked in that house years prior. The oldest daughter says that she is being visited by a young ghost and an elderly blind woman. And Grace thinks that this is a fantasy because she's very religious, very Catholic. She finds dead corpse pictures, which is like the cool thing to do in the 40s, I guess. Because there was a tuberculosis outbreak. There was a lot of stuff happening then. Anyway, Grace witnesses a lot of weird stuff happening in the house, the piano playing, and then she runs into her dead husband, her husband Charles, in the fog. He comes home for a day. He's like totally out of it, doesn't know what's happening. And then he disappears, and then he sees she sees her daughter, and then she sees the daughter as the old woman. It's all something weird. We find out that the 3 servants are actually dead, and they are there to help Grace and the children. And she's like, that can't be true. That's impossible. And then it turns out that they're dead as well because they walk into a seance, and it's reverse Sixth Sense, spoiler alert, because they are actually the dead people. And the people that they think are the ghosts are the live people trying to connect with them. It turns out that Grace killed her kids and killed herself, and afterward believe that God brought everybody back to life, or it didn't happen. Anyway, it's all foggy, pun intended, because of what's happening. And then they have to learn to cohabitate with living people that will probably come and go from that house forever. The end.
And that's the plot.
Yay. Good job. Yeah. It's a lot of twists and turns in this one, but I love the description of the reverse Sixth Sense because, spoiler alert, that was one of my suggestions because it's obviously
sure.
Am I a ghost? Am I not a ghost? Who's real? Who's not? So
yeah.
Great. Well, let's get into our first segment: likes and gripes.
And now our likes and gripes.
Okay. I have a question for you, Nikisha, first. Let's do our new segment that we haven't named yet, so it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. Did you like this movie, yay or nay?
I did.
Jamie, you did like it?
I did, yes.
And Nikisha, just to context, this was your first time watching it.
Yes.
Did you know the twist?
No.
Ooh,
oh,
Nelly.
I'm very excited. Jamie, do you like this movie, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yeah, yay for me too.
Not my first time.
Not my first time either. I think this is my second time.
I don't remember how many times I've seen it, but
okay.
I'll get into it.
Get into it. Let me see. Also, maybe I saw the theater. Let me find my movie stub.
Your ticket stub.
Yeah.
Nikisha, did you guess the ending? If so, at what point did the surprise really get you?
Yeah. As things were going along, well, okay, this is the first thing that tipped me off. It was when the servants first came and the daughter was talking to the servants and she said something like, yeah, mom goes mad sometimes, like that one time where she really went mad. And then there I was like, I think these people are dead. But what I did not guess was that the little boy they were seeing and and the old woman were actually living people. So that got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. It yeah, now I remember, we'll talk about that, but the end, also spoiler alert for Talk to Me, for those of you who haven't seen Talk to Me, like that last shot in Talk to Me, like I guess I hadn't seen like a reverse seance really, like that reminded me a bit of that too. But we'll get to
Oh
that
yeah.
end. Sorry, I was just curious. Nikisha, go for it. I
Yes.
want to hear all your likes and gripes because this is your
Absolutely.
first time watching it. Well, I'm listening. I'm gonna go find the ticket stub.
Great. Yeah, this won't take long, but I'm just going to go through my points that I had. I like how
Yes.
in the very beginning everyone is creepy and suspect of something weird.
Yeah.
Even when the servants come in, there's something weird because they're kind of whispering together about things. But then the whole thing with the kids and the mom and the daughter, especially, who was mentioning like, yeah, sometimes mom like goes mad, and so there's something going on over there. So everyone is just very suspect, and I just love that from off the top. You just don't know who has weird intentions, and I just really appreciated that. My second point in this was, are they all dead living in this house? Because the little girl said something about her mom going mad sometimes, and that's why the servants went away. And so that was like my second bullet point of like, I think they're dead. I love a big creepy house, and like we talked about, I love a foggy wood. It reminds me of The Mist.
We love a foggy wood. If you remember
Yes.
anything from this Thanksgiving episode from 2 years from now, we love a foggy wood.
Love a
Yes.
foggy wood.
And I love the creepy house. It reminded me of gosh, this movie just slipped my mind. I'll think of it, but it's in a creepy house, and it's also with ghosts, but it's more recent, and they're all British. Oh
Crimson
God.
Peak.
Thank you. I'm glad that description.
Yeah,
They're all British
that's
and
when
there's
I think of
ghosts.
like recent gothic horror movies, these
Yes.
two really come to mind.
Absolutely. Because I love an aesthetic, even if the story might be a little wonky, because I think that's how I felt about Crimson Peak. I just loved visually watching it. So
Sure.
anyway, all of that reminded me of that. And yes, my other point was I think mom killed them all. The
Sure.
daughter was a brat, but so was Nicole Kidman, and their relationship was super interesting to me.
Sure.
Just because of how much pushback this little girl is giving her mom. It's like, are you a little old woman reincarnated? Because why are you giving this woman so much sass? But also Nicole Kidman is like actually physically hurting her child. So it was just like really
Sure.
crazy to see. Okay. I had seen the "You're Not My Daughter" scene, but I can't remember if it was because it was a parody from like Scary Movie.
So yes, that's
Yes.
where you saw it.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. Yes. Because I'm like, either I saw
You're
it
like,
in a
why
Mojo
do
countdown.
I know this?
Yeah, that scene.
Yes.
Which one? Scary Movie 2 or 3 heavily features
Okay.
the others.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll find it.
Because I literally, with the minute that the veil was over the daughter's head, I said, I know what's about to happen. It's not going to be, she's going to see somebody else. But I didn't know if it was, I saw it in a countdown video or if it was a parody.
You probably both. You probably saw it in a Watch Mojo episode and
Yes.
and like one of the scary movies, because I think that walking in the room under the sheets, something under the sheets, is also from a scary movie or was featured in a scary movie.
Grand. I love it.
I did find my ticket stub if you're interested to take a little walk down memory lane with me.
Yes.
I saw the others for $8.75 on, I believe this says November 15th of 2001 at 8:30 p.m. in East Hanover, New Jersey.
An $8 night movie is wild to me.
Yeah, $8.75 at 8:30 p.m. Saturday 9/15/01.
It's $12 to see a matinee now.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Ugh, capitalism. Anyway, gorgeous. Yes, so I absolutely was just dying over the reveal of the seance. That got me because I thought that was so genius that we're in the perspective of these ghosts, and so all of the other things around them are actual living people who are living in this house, and how they're getting in contact with these folks is through this medium, through this seance. Like, I would not have guessed that. What I originally thought when the little girl was saying, like, yeah, there's a little boy named Victor here and there's an old woman, I just thought that those were other people who died in the house, and I thought that Nicole Kidman was going to find those pictures of like an old woman,
Yeah, sure,
this family with the son, and
but I think
and
that's what the movie wants you to think as well. Like, I think it did a good
Yeah.
job of making you think that you'd find that woman and you'd find the boy in those pictures and whatnot.
Yeah. But I just thought, yeah, the seance was chef's kiss. Loved it.
That's a great scene. And when it
such a
flips
great
to just
scene.
the papers going up in the air and
yeah.
stuff like that, that's
Yeah.
a really good, clever, good reveal.
Yeah, it was good. I also just love the idea of ghosts lingering around because of like unfinished business and stuff, and so they're just like in the house.
It's
and they
really
don't know
sad.
why. It is. It is
It's,
kind of
like, deeply
sad.
sad.
But in a sense, in this movie, it's like at least they're all together in a familiar house. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like at least they all have each other, you know.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like when she has that like big speech at the end of like realizing what she's done, but like seeing her children again and like having another opportunity. But like
Yeah.
it is also like very sad because there's a part of me that's like, no, you shouldn't get that opportunity, ma'am.
Yeah.
Also that.
But like I feel like this is a time where like I guess these kinds of movies aren't necessarily ending super sad, or is it like, you know, are studios interfering because they're like, wow, that's real sad, we can't end like that.
Gotta pick it up.
You know, like it just, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is interesting. And because, well, I guess because they died in the house and so they have to like stay in the house. Because it was really interesting when the father came in and he was saying he was just coming to say goodbye to his family, and then he could like go off into whatever great beyond, you know, but like they are stuck in the house. I don't know, I thought that was just
His
really
face,
interesting.
His face when they encounter him too is also really sad because it's like he knows that he's dead. So seeing her is like this realization of like, oh, what the fuck happened? And like that I feel like really hits hard because like he looks dazed and confused.
Yes.
Which I think like is part of the PTSD like shell shock situation. But I also think there is this like look of recognition of understanding, like I know where I am and now I think I know where you are too.
Right. Yeah. No, that was very sad, especially when he sees his kids and his kids are so happy to see him and he's just like, what the hell is going on? Like how? So yeah, I thought that whole entire like interaction was great, but then you know, it solidifies that it's like they're all dead. I also liked the phrase from the older maid. She was talking at the very end about like how they'll continue to move on in the house, and she said sometimes you'll sense the intruders and sometimes you don't. I love how they call them intruders. And that's also kind of sad too. But I just loved that idea of like it any kind of rules that we all talk about like who can see who, why, what reason. Just I think that sentence kind of like sums up, it's like no holds bar, anything can happen as far as like sometimes you'll sense the people that are there and sometimes you won't, and sometimes they may try to make a connection with you and you can get through and sometimes they won't. Because my question to you guys was going to be, why do you think that the little girl was seeing Victor and the mom? Like, why was she the one that was able to connect with the living and then the other people weren't? Because they didn't really give like a reason.
Well, I think it was the kids questioning the religion that is supposed to, like, their belief system is more flexible and more open, and I think that allowed them to see beyond the written word in the book and the rituals and the rites and all of that of Catholicism. I think that was supposed to display that a little bit, you know, among other things. But I also think, as we've seen in a lot of these other movies, that kids are the most sensitive to this. They're vulnerable. They're most susceptible. You know, and it's not about the kids. It's about Victor, because Victor's the
Yeah.
one who's seeing the ghosts, and the
Mhm.
kids have this connection. So because the adults weren't. The adults were kind of getting pieces of it here or there, but Victor was the one actually connecting with them. So
Yeah,
you
that's true.
know, I think that would be my guess.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Jamie?
No, I think I like what Brian said just about like kids being kind of like more vulnerable, but like I think there's just like this level of openness to all experiences that like as you get older we become like these hardened adults that like don't necessarily view the world in the same way and maybe are
Mhm.
more closed off to these things. So I also kind of like that, like just that element of it again, like if you flip it from like it's Victor or this like medium who is able to like perceive them, that it has to be these like unique circumstances that not everybody can have access to them. So I think that's interesting. It's like
Yeah.
once you start believing it, does that like open you up to seeing it more of the time?
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
Which was
That
a
makes
fear
sense.
that I had as a child.
Right. It's like don't don't
That was
believe
the
in it too
anxiety.
much.
Like that is like true anxiety of like, okay, they say like if you believe it's real, then like it grows. But like, how do I not believe it if I'm thinking about it?
Exactly.
All the
Do my
time.
thoughts fuel like a belief, and then I'm scared I'm going to get
Mhm.
possessed? So
Yep. That's true. High anxiety right there.
hi.
Absolutely. I agree.
Good
Yes.
Absolutely.
stuff.
I
Great.
only had just a couple of gripes. I just wanted
Yeah.
to know specifically the reason why the servants came back.
That's my number one gripe. What are the servants' actual job? Like, are they supposed to help them and lead them through it because they're also like dead in that house? Like
Right.
if that's the case, the servants did a bad job. And I understand that the servants aren't like ghost therapists where they're like, "Sit down, honey, I have something to tell you." You know what I mean? Like the ghost did a
Wait, but
bad job.
Can we get that movie though?
Yeah,
There you go.
Therapist?
ghost therapist.
Ghost
I
just-
therapist. Yes.
Ghost
Good
therapist. I
mark.
love it.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't. They either did a bad job or the movie just needed a couple more lines about like what their reason and justification were, aside from like kind of being creepy and to be red herrings.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess that's yes. I guess they just were trying to get them to be red herrings, but it just kind of made the rest of the plot a little muddy because I was just like, well, why are you here?
Agreed.
Like exactly like you said, is it to help them through, to help them realize that they're dead? But yeah, and then there was one thing of where Nicole Kidman kind of like locks them out of the house, and I'm like, you guys are ghosts. Like, why can't you walk through this door right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they were
other
like
than
all
that-
outside the window, like we're giving more exposition. We
Yes.
can't win.
Yes.
Help.
I'm like, come on, guys.
Yes.
And I will say it was. I even hate saying that it was slow at the beginning. I think it was just the nature of like a 2001 movie nature of it all.
A foreign, Spanish. It has a foreign movie feel to it because it's a Spanish movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. Well, then maybe that was it. But once it gets into everything, like I was invested in what was happening, and I thought that the acting was great from everyone around it, and I really had a good time. And even guessing that they were all dead at the beginning, the reveal of a seance was just amazing. And then putting together that Victor, the little boy they saw, was like an actual real, person. It was, I would not have guessed that. So I really had a good time watching this. It was great. Yeah. Jamie?
Cool.
Yes. So just to give a little bit of background, I first saw this movie when I was in high school. I mentioned this before on the pod, but when I was afraid of scary movies and I wanted to like get over my fear of scary movies with the goal of watching The Ring, this was, I think, the first movie that I like commit myself to trying to get over my fear of scary movies.
Oh,
and I
cool.
felt like this was a
Gorgeous.
really great like entryway horror movie where there's a lot of tension. It's like I like again, like Nikisha kind of referenced, the gothic vibes are like very time periody, but like very nice in a horror movie. It's not over the top like gory at all. Like I think the
Mm-mm.
cleverness of like the seance and the possession and things kind of being flipped kind of like allow this movie to really focus on the characters and like the creepiness of the characters figuring things out versus it being more scary. Whereas like the
Mhm.
Sixth Sense scared the shit out of me, and I also saw that at like a too young of an age, so like
Yes.
I was traumatized by that. So this was like really refreshing. I remember there were like things I was comparing at the end of this that I was talking to Brian about, where I was like, I like that the ghosts don't have to like show me how they died in their ghostly form. I'm
Oh,
okay
yeah,
that
yeah,
like
yeah.
none of them are walking around with like a bullet hole in the back of their head,
Right,
or like,
right.
you know, like a cut neck or like any of that stuff. Like I
Mhm.
don't need that to still be like creeped out by the big reveal that they are in fact dead. Even just
Yeah.
them like dumping the leaves on the tombstones outside and like all of that stuff. Like that was effective enough. And so like if
Mhm.
somebody is on the fence about scary movies, this would definitely be one that I would recommend to other people.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good thought.
That is a great
So
point.
that's kind of, yeah, that's my like relationship with this movie is
Mhm.
kind of the start of the ramp up. But it definitely holds up even knowing the twist. It is still like there's some slow moments, but I think that Nicole Kidman does a really good job just like being weird and creepy in this.
Mm.
And it's funny because like I just watched Practical Magic for the first time, and like that's
Mhm.
also the era of Nicole Kidman that I like still really wish we were currently getting. So it was like
Yes.
really nice to jump back into this version of her,
Yeah.
and like she's just like really like I believe that like she's in this time period. I
Mhm.
believe the like really intense like religious spiritual relationship that she has. I believe like the isolation, and like I feel like there's even more that we're not fully getting of just like how isolated she is. Like, you know,
Mhm.
she is clearly also mentally ill, and so like is she even further isolate? Like it doesn't sound like she really left the house, because I think she even makes a comment about that when she's talking about while the servants left like a week ago, and like they know that she can't leave the home and like stuff like that. And it's like part of you is like, oh, is it because she's dead? But I think also part of it is like she's just so isolated. But like I believe that she's struggling with all of these things.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
And I just think it's like a testament to her skill and acting. So good job, Nicole Kidman.
Good job.
Um
So just to take this was my point that I want to talk about earlier in the episode, and Jamie just segued beautifully into it.
You're welcome.
It's something called iPhone face. Have you heard of this before,
I've heard the
Nikisha?
term. Yeah.
The
So
affliction.
basically, like, are you believable in a period setting because of the way that your face looks? You know what I mean? Like so to me, Nicole Kidman, examples of people who do not have iPhone faces are like Keira Knightley. She's
Mm.
always in like Pride and Prejudice and Anna Karenina
She's
and
only in that movie
yeah. But
She's
she
over
only
and
bad
over
version
again.
of this.
she has this like universal kind of look where you feel like this would be someone who like um Pirates of the Caribbean. Like she
Yes.
always feels like she can be in a different era, but she could also play stuff today like Love Actually and stuff like that. However, some people then like, Botox or whatever they do to their face, and all of a sudden they have iPhone face. They cannot be believable in a certain time period anymore. And I feel
Yeah.
like there was a point in Nicole Kidman's career where she was doing all of these like Far and Away and Moulin Rouge and all these period pieces and stuff like that. The others, not the others, that yes, the others is one of them, but the one she won the Oscar for, Virginia Woolf and stuff like that,
Mm.
even though she had prosthetics on. But so you have that. Um, And then you have, the second half of her career where she's doing like pretty Big Little Lies and all this TV stuff, and then she's in like Lion and but you can do high fantasy stuff because like Aquaman, because that's not like in a time, it's still contemporary. But yeah, so I feel like this is pre Nicole Kidman iPhone face, and I prefer
Yeah.
this era of Nicole Kidman, even though she's doing spectacular work now, and I can still watch a movie with her in it, like Paddington.
Mm.
And I don't see her. Paddington's a bad example because that is a time period as well. Is it though? I don't remember. Anyway,
I have
um,
no idea.
but long story short, I still enjoy her work, but like I prefer like non iPhone face Nicole Kidman's work.
I guess I just haven't
Mm.
seen her in very, very recent movies to have that mindset, but I absolutely can see that. And that's with a lot of people now. Like you can't place them any time before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm backtracking a little bit because like something that like she was in The Northman that we all saw.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I totally forgot that she was in
I
that.
guess that felt a little bit different, but she was in like Killing of a Sacred
I
Deer.
do think that she had iPhone face in that.
Yeah, she definitely does. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she's in Baby Girl coming out. That's gonna be she's in that Family Affair movie with Zac Efron. She's in the Goldfinch Bombshell, The Prom, Paddington.
What's that movie coming out where she like is a CEO?
Baby Girl.
Okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it was called.
Oh, with that guy, some young guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
anyway,
a sub-dom relationship, but like she's older and like a businesswoman, and he like works for her, I think.
Yeah, that was in the previews when I saw The Heretic, which I was like, what? Where are we?
Mm.
Okay. Very interesting.
the movie I was thinking was The Hours with Virginia Woolf, which she played Virginia Woolf,
Mm.
and then Practical Magic before then, Far and Away, stuff like that for sure.
Yeah.
Cold
No,
Mountain.
I agree.
Anyway, sorry, that was my little tangent. Back to you, Jamie.
No,
iPhone
but
face parlor talk.
Come, sit, have a drink. It's parlor talk.
Yeah, I think that like there's certain physicality that's definitely distracting, but I think it's more like right now I feel like this current phase of Nicole Kidman is just playing the same character in like the same kinds of movies, which is why I was like, what's the movie that I'm describing right now? And then it's also just feels like all the other like she's just playing this like kind of like aloof character in a thriller that revolves around her.
Sure.
And that's what I feel like she's, for whatever reason, really niching herself down in, which like I guess is fine.
If you're good at it.
But I did read a quote that she had where it's like, why are you working so much and stuff? She's like, because apparently she makes her decisions now based on who she can help. Like if there's a female writer or a female director or a story that she thinks would like to be told and she wants to get it out there, like she'll use her star power to elevate a lot of the people around her. And I feel like the best movie stars do that. Denzel Washington does that.
Yeah.
He has this thing where he says, first you learn, then you earn, then you return. And those are the three parts of your life. You spend your youth learning the craft, then you earn, you make the money, you pick the project, whatever, and then you return the favor. You bring people up, you pull people up by whether it's the writers or actors and stuff like that. I know that what's her name does that too. Natalie Portman does that. In terms of only like, trying to exclusively work with female directors and like that kind of stuff to get that notoriety on it. And I just find like the true movie stars, like that's something I'm very attracted to when going to see a movie with certain people in it. That quality of like, why did they choose this? Oh, because they think that this writer has something to say, and I'm into that very much. So
For
anyway,
sure.
that was another tangent. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's fair. I
But
mean,
that's
it makes
great.
it makes it come from a much better place than me just wondering like, why does it feel like you're playing the same character because at least you're like, oh, I want to. I mean, one, she plays it well because otherwise she wouldn't continue to like do the same kind of thing.
Right.
But also like that it's her using like leveraging her fame to uplift other people around her, which like that is admirable and positive, and I hope other folks are doing similar things.
Because heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
I can't not recite that when I go see a movie in a theater. Like I feel like that's part of what I'm paying for with my movie
Absolutely.
ticket is the opportunity to recite that in full. So
Yes.
thank you, AMC, and I can't wait for the sequel.
Truly.
But
The what?
the squeakquel.
Every time.
The next time you make me say that, I'm going to serve you divorce papers.
No. Then we'll both be in our squeakquel.
Oh my god.
But what else do I like about this movie? Yeah, I feel like so also rewatching this, when I feel like it seems very obvious that everyone is dead. Like the rewatch, like the things that they're saying outside of even just the daughter being like the last time Mummy went mad, they're also like I think right in the beginning the servants say something about being dead, and then
oh yeah, Mr. Tuttle, when they're walking to the house, is like, oh, I haven't seen him in a while, must be dead like us, and they're all like, ha ha ha, and I was like, oh, they just tell you in the first sentence of this film.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, do you think anyone will know this? Tee.
Oh yeah, and then she's like, she hasn't talked for a while. How long? She's like, she's older than you think. Like
yeah.
Yes, oh, she's 200 years old, or whatever.
It's funny, like revisiting this upon knowing the twist, because it seems painfully obvious in the script, but I don't know. It's like a little bit silly, but also I still just really enjoyed the presentation of it, that like I wasn't super distracted by how they were speaking on it. And it still was like enough riddles and subverting expectations where it's like, I'll suspend my, I mean, I don't have any disbelief left, but I'll suspend whatever I have left just to like, just to be in it. I don't have anything because I already know, but like,
right.
You can still like be present with it. And I do feel, again, like I think it's a good rewatch, even if you have already seen this movie before. Yeah, I think like it really just is the gothic creepy vibes. There's so much that like isn't totally answered, like Nicole Kidman's insistence on like keeping the doors closed, which I guess is partially because she doesn't want her children to get out, but like if they are concerned about their own well-being and like they can't be exposed to anything, she like completely takes the autonomy away from them and like is locking them in rooms. And it's like, do you think if they know that they are going to like potentially die by encountering sunlight, you think they're just going to be running from room to room? Like that just seems dangerous. And like they seem so frightened in the scene where all the curtains have been removed that like I don't think that they would be behaving in that way. So it's like, what is it about like her that she feels the need to like maintain this level of control? Like it's all just like very creepy and weird. But like I also like it. The woman performing the seance is like terrifying. Like from the picture that the daughter does it the daughter or the son that draws it? I forget. One of them draws a picture of the family. Is it the daughter? Because she's like, these are all of the people I've seen and how many times I've seen them. And like the old daughter. Woman has like, wild hair, like and she's like 11, and it's like, oh, like we haven't even seen this woman. And then again, that iconic scene of her under the veil and like playing the thing, which I think it's Scary Movie 3, but what I didn't remember is that scene is like them making fun of Michael Jackson. Do you remember that?
Oh,
I knew as soon as I said it, you were gonna remember exactly what I was talking about. Yeah. So
wow.
I think it was 3 because I think that's when the Wayans brothers stopped directing it.
Yes.
And then it was like referencing everything and not like, because I'm like, what is going? It just like goes beyond. So anyway, that's that scene. But it is still deeply disturbing and creepy. And I love the way it's shot, because it's like, it's still, you can't fully see it. Like, you can tell that it's obviously a different person underneath the veil, but like, you kind of still can't totally see her, and I like
Yeah.
that. I like that it's still a little bit like, is obfuscated the right word, or did I just pull that out of my?
That's a
It's,
gorgeous word.
you know, you can't fully see it. I don't know.
Yes.
And then like the camera kind of like shifts and then shifts back, and then it is the daughter. So it's like, whoa, like, you know, not, it doesn't have to be super advanced. It feels more practical the way that they do it, and it's still really creepy and disturbing. And then at the outcome, it's like, she's like, mom's trying to kill me, and you know, all of this like backblow. But like, yeah, their relationship is also really interesting, just like this ongoing tension that's always there
Mm-hmm.
regarding the religious like questioning. I I also, I mean, I think this movie wants to like explore religion a lot and faith and things like that, but it is also fascinating that the main like servant woman is like encouraging. I know that she's doing it to get Nicole Kidman's character to like realize that she's actually dead, but it is
Yeah.
interesting that she's like kind of undermining her belief system, having like just kind of come into the home. I just think that's interesting, because like I don't really know what to make of that. But I feel like if I was I mean, I guess I am a parent now. Whoa, that was weird. I was gonna say, if I was a parent and like somebody else was like coming into a space and like, you know, trying to interfere with the things that I was teaching my child, I would feel some type of way about it. So I feel like she's justifiably like, you know, pissed at her. I don't even think she knows that that's happening, but like,
Sure.
I don't know. I was thinking about that being in this new identity role that I now have, and like that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like this movie. I don't really have a lot of gripes with it. That was it.
Gorgeous.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with my gripes. I think the servants thing and too many hints. I think it's very, it's not fair to say, but you guessed it, but it was just like overly predictable the second time you watch it. Not that that's a gripe per se, but just a more of an observation. I really liked the vibe and the tone of this. It feels old, and not like 2001 old. It just like feels like a lived in movie is what I mean. And like everything feels like old in it. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I thought the exposition, the use of taking the servants around the house and teaching them everything was a spectacular way to get exposition across and making it feel organic. I thought that was really good. I liked the smaller hints, not like the big ones we talked about, but the little hints that I liked is like when food tastes funny to them and stuff like that. Like these things, like they're getting used to like not being alive. I thought that some of my favorite scenes in horror movies or any movie are the school scenes. We've talked about these before, where they just so happen to be teaching something in that one class that is thematically going to be linked to the movie that you're watching. And because she homeschools them in the Bible, and she talks about Jesus and the afterlife and child limbo, like that was our school scene in this one, if you will. And I really enjoyed that. I just think this movie is beautiful. I think the score is incredible. I like that she's still sad in death. I like that she wasn't freed of kind of that pain she was feeling. I think that's kind of, in a very deeply sad way, beautiful. I don't know. It's real. It's a wonderful way to look at it, like cinematically and narratively. As sad, but I don't mind the sad aspect of it. The all in good time stuff is like so funny. She's like, they'll soon learn all in good time. I'm like, okay. Okay. And I like, before we go to the reveal, I do like that the movie ends specifically with no fog and the seagulls like the complete opposite of what she says at the very beginning.
Mhm.
So there was that aspect of things. And even if you guess it, as Nikisha said, um, the seance, the reverse seance reveal is so good on so many levels. Like, it's just an incredible reveal scene, even if you've guessed it. And Jamie and I
Mhm.
were talking about that when we watch it. Just, it's clever, it's creepy, it matches the gothic vibes throughout the whole movie. It's
Mhm.
surprising, it's well edited and shot so that it feels like, you're learning along with her. The way that she holds them, she's talking about smothering them but holding them in a loving way, like in the
Mm.
hallway. I just think that whole entire sequence is so well executed, and that the reveals come like one right after another. Like, they're dead, oh my god, kids come here, run away, wait a second, we're dead. Like, just like a truly amazing like sequence of events that is highlighted by that reverse seance scene. Just out of this world. Great. um yeah, and those are my big thoughts. I just think this is a really well made, fantastic movie, and it's done in a pithy way. There feels like there's no. I would have almost liked 5 more minutes of this movie to like fill in some
Mhm.
of the gaps that we talked about rules
Yes.
wise,
Yes.
but like, there's very little fat on this movie in general.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Oh
It's just enough. Yes.
yeah. Oh, and I think I listened to a thing. It's Eccleston. We were right. Um,
Okay.
but I think Christopher Eccleston, because I'm mentioning him now, so I wanted to.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think Christopher Eccleston does such a good job in everything that Jamie mentioned about like him coming home, him knowing the sadness. He radiates sadness, and he
Mhm.
radiates wandering and trying to find. He radiates limbo. That's what it
Yes.
is,
Mm.
and it's
Mhm.
just so effective. You're supposed when he's hugging his kids, like you mentioned, when he sees her in the woods, the foggy woods, that we all love a foggy wood. Um,
Foggy Woods.
um, and I just think it's wonderful. But my number one thing about this movie is a question I have for both of you.
Mhm.
Are you a cowardly custard?
Man, that was a great.
When she's like,
God
"You want to
dang.
look?" When you a cowardly custard, cowardly custard. Also, it's like Sixth Sense, where he's like
Yeah.
stuttering stand, stuttering stand,
Oh
stuttering
yeah, I
stand.
forgot about that.
It's reverse six. This movie is reverse Sixth Sense.
It is. She had another one too. There was a second nickname.
Yeah, I forget what it was, but
Yeah.
the cowardly custard really hit me in the feels.
Yeah. It's also with the accent too, and it's just like, oh man, okay.
Oh
So that
yeah.
little boy was
Cowardly Custard.
precious.
Nope, can't
I felt
do
so
an
bad. He
accent.
was just
Oh,
getting like,
the kids were good actors. Would you agree,
they were.
Nikisha?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
As
Love
the
it.
resident actress and here, do you think that
I'm
was
not
good kid
child.
acting? Oh, we should have a segment like, was that good kid acting? Although that feels a little like mean spirited, but like,
No,
pun
it was
intended,
alright.
spirited. But was it good kid acting?
Oh my god, too much is
It was
happening.
excellent. That little
Yeah.
daughter was a word that I won't say on this podcast, but all of that because she was such a good actress.
Yeah.
She did that. It was
Like,
great.
we love
I
that for
loved it.
her. Good job.
Good job to you. Yeah, great. Any other thoughts before we move on? No.
No thoughts.
Okay,
Nar.
fantastic.
Oh yeah, in honor of Nicole Kidman. Nar.
No. Absolutely. Alrighty. Well, let's get into our next segment. Brains.
Tasty,
Tasty.
tasty. Cowardly custard.
I love a custard.
Mm.
All right, my first question to you, Jamie, of course, is about grief.
Wait. What's the line from Halloween? Ends. You something with your custard, like, oh my, only good boys get their only people who kiss their mommies get their custard.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
What was it? Hold on, I'll look it up.
Please.
You ask your question.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot all about
Not
that.
oh, I got peanut butter on my penis.
No,
That's
that's
from
from
the first
that's the
one.
first one.
Oh.
We
I
say
quote-
that
I
all
do
the
quote
time.
That. Yeah, I say
Really?
that pretty quickly.
Yeah, just 'cause it's so funny.
fucking absurd.
3 of our most quoted things, got peanut butter on my penis, Evil Dies Tonight, And then only good boys get their custard. Hold on, Halloween ends. Custard.
Wow.
Wow, yeah, we got
Oh.
the whole trilogy.
Wait,
This is the third one.
It's even worse. It's even worse than I thought. It's like boys who keep secrets don't get custard for dessert. It's even worse.
This was from
Oh.
a movie in
Silly.
2023.
Oh my god. I
That's
forgot.
from the third one, right?
Yeah, it's from Halloween
Oh,
Ends.
God.
Jeez.
It's his mom, right? It's the kid's
Yeah.
mom who says it. Oh my! And
Boys
after
who
she like
keep
kisses him on the mouth or
secrets.
whatever. Oh
Ugh.
Oh my
man.
god.
Gross.
Oh my god. Ew. Please.
Gross.
we'll add it to the list of quotes for this.
And the
podcast.
top Reddit that comes up is: Did Corey get custard for dessert after all? Yes, he made his own custard. No, he kept secrets. Please explain in the comments what's happening. Voting did close 2 years ago.
Oh, boy.
All right, sorry.
Oh, I love it. Great. Well, Jamie, so my first question to you has to do with grief, which of course can be very nuanced, but do you think this movie accurately represented grief through the eyes of the mom and through the daughter acting out and the son, being so clinging towards his mom because he didn't have, anybody else? Like, how did you feel about how this movie represented grief?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about grief on this podcast, and I feel
Mhm.
like the thing that I can't emphasize enough is just like grief manifests in so many different ways. There really isn't like a single representation of it. So like you could get this daughter kind of acting out against her mother and like resisting the messages that her mother is trying to instill in her, especially regarding like, you know, religion and faith in God and like what happens after death and where do you go, and like that topic. And then her kind of like leaning on religion as a source of comfort, but also being really like standoffish and aloof and things like there's so many. So I do feel like these two presentations like can both be results of dealing with grief, that they don't have to look the same, and it's just like two totally different ways that that they're both kind of managing it or not managing it.
Yeah.
So I think that always is interesting when you have different characters like dealing with the same situation in a variety of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. My second question is from the quote, people don't just stop. This is what Nicole Kidman is saying to the eldest, or the older lady servant. She says, people don't just stop talking. These things are always a result of some sort of trauma, because they were talking about the younger servant. And so I just wanted to know, is it possible that PTSD can cause a person to become nonverbal? If so, or if not, are there other mental health conditions that can also cause that?
Yeah. So I think we're talking about like mutism, and there's a variety of different like circumstances that can like there's both biological, physiological, developmental, etc. But there are psychological situations that can cause mutism. I think also we hear a lot about like selective mutism, where like sometimes,
Mhm.
and it's usually, I think we see it more in children, in media too. But and I'll also say like I've never encountered this because I also don't really work with young people. But with selective mutism, it's like really speaking in like certain situations or like certain people, but
Mm.
largely like not otherwise speaking. And I think a lot of times it is due to like very heightened like anxiety or trauma, like more extreme situations that usually are at play. But I think there are other diagnoses that can also like be related. Like I think autism, like being on the spectrum, can also be related.
Okay.
I think it requires like, a solid like person doing an evaluation to kind of figure out like what is going on. But yeah, I think definitely trauma can certainly impact somebody in that way.
Random question. What is the longest type of testing for a diagnosis, for a mental health diagnosis? Because I know, like, I have friends who have taken like ADHD tests, and it could take like 2 days, and it's just like a long amount of not only just written testing, but like other physical activities, and they're observing how you do certain things in order to
Yeah.
like diagnose you with certain things. So do you know, just off the top, like, just wondering what is like the longest test
So
there
I
out there?
don't know off the top because my educational background in social
Mhm.
work as like with a master's degree, I don't do testing. I don't do
Okay,
psychological testing. So
got it.
you would have to go see like a psychologist or a psychiatrist to do some of those tests to receive like a formal diagnosis, which for some people that's like a barrier to getting those diagnoses, and a lot of
Mm,
times I think people end up self-diagnosing, and I think that there is validity in self-diagnosing because, like, you know yourself best, you're living with yourself.
yeah.
But yeah, so like I'm aware that those tests can take a long time, but I don't know kind of like the ins and outs of them. On
Yeah.
my end, there are like much shorter things, which aren't like tests. It's more of like scales or like assessments that you can fill out yourself, or you can fill out with a therapist that usually will give more insight into like not necessarily like a full diagnosis, but like if you score this and above, like you might be presenting with a lot of the symptoms of depression or anxiety or
Mm,
PTSD. So like I've used those tools in my practice, as needed, but those are like very short. Like,
yes.
some of them can have as little as like 8 questions or like
Mm-hmm.
60 questions, like it depends on the thing, but very different from psychological testing.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely went to like a random doctor at one point, and they gave me like an anxiety test thing, but it was only 10
Hmm.
questions or like 10 statements, and it was like on a scale from like 1 to 10, like how would you feel in these certain situations? But it was very
Hmm.
interesting because I also was like, I feel like I would even like not even answer this truthfully in a sense, just because it was
Sure.
so short. And it's like also one of those things of like, if you want to get the help, it's like, what do I need to put on there? Which is kind of really awful, but
Hmm.
it's probably also why I need help. But it
Yeah.
was just like a very interesting thing to think about too, like how you can get that kind of grading and scale with those things. But
Hmm.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I think some of those tools can be helpful. It really
Okay.
depends, I think, on the situation. I also think it depends on the client because I
Yeah.
think some people I'm sure I've said this before too, but like for some people I think they really like to have like a diagnosis because
Hmm.
their experience feels really like validated and affirmed, and in having a diagnosis you're able to like narrow down treatment to address that diagnosis. So it's
Yeah.
like, this label helps me then know that these are the things I need to do, or like these are the approaches that I need to look for from a therapist in order to like work on this.
Hmm.
But not everybody, fits neatly into a box, and it's not always going to
Right.
like make perfect sense to, use one of these tools and be like, well, I kind of experienced this, but maybe like not all the time or not with this intensity. So like there isn't necessarily like a black and white concrete like thing to kind of say or diagnose.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that like you're not having these experiences. So
Right.
yeah.
Yes, that is great. It doesn't mean you're not having these experiences because you feel like if it's not at an intense 10, then it's like, oh, it's just in my mind. Am I just making
Hmm.
this up?
Like you're probably
Yeah.
not making it up. It probably still
Yeah.
like sucks.
Yes. Absolutely. Great. And my last question to you is, do you think that holding on to hope for too long can interfere with your perception of reality or keep you from moving forward or moving on in a healthy way? And I am asking this question in relation to in the movie with the Nicole Kidman and the kids. not processing the possible death of her husband, and just kind of holding on to hope that he's still alive, but it's kind of preventing them from moving forward in a sense of them really kind of coming together as a family, because that's all that they have left now.
Yeah, this is also a great question.
Great question.
Good question.
Excellent question.
So I think that I don't know if I feel like it's hope.
Okay.
Like, because when I think about hope, I think about like hope as like a form of resilience and like what helps keep us alive, and which is also ironic, I guess, because they're dead. But I think about it in terms of that, where it's like I'm wondering if it's less about hope that is keeping them from moving on versus like denial of their reality, which
Okay.
feels a little
Yes.
bit different, because like
Sure, that's
she's not
interesting.
willing to
Mhm.
like accept what she has done. She's not willing to accept the fact that her husband is likely dead. Like there's several layers of like denying reality that I feel like is happening here.
Yeah.
I do feel like the movie has a hopeful message at the end, but that really only comes from not only the reveal to us, the audience, but the reveal to her of like no longer denying like I did this, like I killed my children and myself, and like that, like I couldn't deal with the like the loss of my husband not being here for so long, and I couldn't deal with like my children and like all the other things. So I feel like it was less about like hope necessarily,
Yeah,
and
for
more
sure.
about like a defense mechanism from her own reality, that wouldn't allow her to like move forward, which like easy to say as an outsider. It's like, how would we have coped with this? Also probably not well.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that like the hopeful message at the end of you have the second opportunity with your family now, and then from the servant who is like, you'll learn to live with these other people who will share this home with you, like that felt more hopeful.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
that only comes again, like that also comes from like acceptance. It's like you're gonna have to
Right.
accept the fact that like you no longer have the autonomy to like not allow other people into your home, so like you're gonna have to share, and like dealing with that situation. So that's my
Yeah.
thought on that.
That absolutely makes sense. Just the sense that it is straight up denial, as opposed to, when people talk like toxic positivity, and just to kind of
She's
like
not really positive in this.
Oh
at
no,
any-
no.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I
not.
don't know if I don't know if I
Absolutely
would
not.
describe her as a toxic positivity in
I mean,
this film.
toxic,
Yes.
yeah, but like
Yeah,
not
we could
really.
stop
she's not
halfway through
really
that.
Positive.
Right. But I mean, as far as like denial and trying to get over things, and then like people just using whatever and not process what they're going through. But I absolutely understand about denial. That makes sense. Yeah. Great. Well, that's all that I have. Should we rotten tomato this?
Let's do it. I'm
Rotten
excited.
tomato.
Yes.
It's the Rotten Tomatoes game.
Okay, what do you think this has on Rotten Tomatoes? Jamie, let's start with you. What do you think this percentage is on Rotten Tomatoes? The Rotten Tomato.
I'm gonna guess. I feel like this has a very high score. I'm gonna guess 92.
All right, Nikisha?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I'm gonna say 86.
84.
Okay.
Dang.
The Others is a spooky thriller that reminds us that a movie doesn't need expensive special effects to be creepy. Okay,
Yeah.
sure. But it has it has a 77% audience score, the popcorn meter, which I thought is interesting.
Is there a consensus for the audience?
No, it's just the critics one.
That's interesting.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Letterboxd. I upgrade. Not this is not promoted. I upgraded my Letterboxd. They have a Black Friday sale to get like a certain percent off, like any subscription for it. And I
Nice.
can. This is such a stupid thing, but I can change the posters on the movie. So like I watch the others and I change the
Cool.
poster so it's a little bit different than other people's poster.
Fancy.
One of the many things I get with my status. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. All right, what do you think this has on Letterboxd? As a reminder, it's decimal points 0 to 5. Nikisha, you go first because Jamie started the Rotten Tomatoes one.
I'm gonna say 2.9.
All right, Jamie.
3.2.
3.8.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, they really love this.
Yeah. All right. Let's read through the three most popular reviews. This one comes from number one Gizmo fan. Nicole Kidman can take that rifle to my head anytime she likes.
Yikes.
Great, thank you.
Big yikes.
Claire says Nicole Kidman descending the staircase, carrying a gas lamp in one hand and holding a shotgun in the other while the fog thickens outside. I think that's like a poem. It might be a haiku.
Oh.
Nicole Kidman descend. No, it's too long. But yeah. So that was that one.
I was gonna say that's an aesthetic. That's
Mm-hmm.
Halloween costume.
This review may contain spoilers. This is from Scoobert Do, aka Mo. First plot twist happens. Me, I totally called it. Second plot twist, Roundhouse kicks me in the back of the head. Shut it, nerd.
Absolutely, I feel the same exact
Yeah,
way.
that's good. That's a good description for sure of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Let's do the 4 S's.
Yes.
Skull, scare, shakes, and suggestions. The Talking Horrors 4 S's.
The 4 S's are skulls, scares, shakes, and suggestions. Skulls is how well this movie handles mental health and human behavior, 1 through 10. Scares is how scary was it. Shakes, are you going to shake it off, or is this a one and done? And then we'll do some suggestions. But Jamie, we'd love to hear your numbers. Why don't you start us off?
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. No, thank you.
For skulls, I gave this a 7. Yeah, I gave it a 7. I thought that it felt fairly realistic, for this time period. Oh, there was something I want to say that you said before that I think was wrong, Brian, about the pictures. I don't know why I thought of it right in this moment, but the pictures weren't from the 40s. The pictures were from the 1800s.
Oh yeah. Yes.
They were older. So
they were much older. Yeah, no, good point.
Yes, I don't want the swaths of people to email you saying
no, they've already started. We haven't aired this yet, and I'm already getting emails. But yes, you're 100. Yeah, totally.
For scares, I gave it a 2. Again, because I don't think that this is like super duper scary, which is why I watched it at the point that I watched it in my life.
Sure.
So if you're looking for something that isn't super jump scary, I think a 2 is like a totally manageable number. And for shakes, I gave it a 5. Partially, like, it sticks around because, again, of my relationship to it, but also that I didn't remember the seance scene, but I did remember the possession scene. And I think moving forward, I'm going to also remember the seance scene more, because like that's like the big, impactful, scary twist.
Yeah.
But that's why it kind of went middle of the road for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nikisha, what are your numbers?
Mine were basically all the same except for the last one. Skulls is a 7, scares is a 2, but I gave it a 6 for shakes. So I really had a good time. I'm now going to be thinking about this for a minute.
Yeah.
Mine, I did 7 and 2 as well. But I gave it an 8. I think this is an all-timer. Twist-wise, acting, gothic. I just think this is on, like Jamie said, this is just on so many of my suggestion lists. Like, this is a good one to, like, it's somewhere between Hitchcock and Shyamalan. Like, like there's and there's and even Guillermo del Toro. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in here.
Agreed.
I have 2 suggestions. My first, if you want a seance movie that's interesting, I would suggest Brooklyn 45.
I still haven't
Oh,
seen
you've
that. Okay.
recommended that before.
Yeah, I really like that movie, and it's not perfect, but I think it's a really, I think it's great for what it is.
From last year, yeah?
I think it was last year, yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite movies ever, The Orphanage.
I knew you were gonna say that one.
Yeah. I
Yes.
just think this has a lot of vibes in common with that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I already said mine, Sixth Sense and Crimson
Oh, right.
Peak for me. Yeah. What about you,
You
Jamie?
both said mine.
Oh.
I have The Sixth Sense and The Orphanage. Sorry, The Orphanage.
Thank
Yes.
you. And Scary Movie 3.
And Scary Movie 3.
Maybe
Yeah,
not.
maybe, probably not. Yeah. I'd have to rewatch that one to confirm or deny its
I'm sure it
suggestion.
has not held up.
No,
I mean,
the first
they
one doesn't.
don't. Oh, but yeah, they really don't. But like, there's just random scenes that we'll think about on a regular basis, like Brenda yelling, "Those are just bones." So
or
funny.
with the backup dancer.
Or Cindy, your TV's leaking.
Oh God! Especially what didn't age well was when Brenda was talking in the one about the backup dancer because it was one of P Diddy's parties.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
it's so fucked up.
Oh my God, I love
yeah.
They knew. Oh my God, that's so messed up.
Right.
That's even
Right.
worse.
Right. It was wild.
Ugh.
But
Terrible.
okay, that wraps up our episode. I
Don't
was
watch
going to
that
say
movie.
The Orphanage. Wow.
The what?
Oh, The Orphanage.
Oh, that's not
Which
even what we
Eliza
watched.
never actually sings. Huh?
Did you say that wraps up our talk on The Orphanage?
Right. I was thinking it by accident,
Oh,
but
Oh,
because I was like, we didn't even watch that.
right.
we did do an episode on The Orphanage, so check it out.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
All you know,
That's
in
remembered.
2 years, that's from 3 years ago.
Oh,
If
jeez.
you listen to
Yeah.
the series in the
Hey,
part,
how's
yeah.
the future? Having listened to all of these,
Yeah.
what's it like? Good audio quality? Let us know.
Let us know. Oh my God. Fantastic. Okay, so
Yeah.
this
Is
wraps
the
up our episode.
podcast implant in your head? You doing good sound?
Oh, right. You could just see it through your eyes, like the YouTube screen.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just coming out of
totally.
your eyes.
Yeah, totally.
Oh,
God. So this wraps up our episode of The Others. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok, and coming soon, Blue Sky at
Mhm.
Talk Horror Pod. And producer Brian, where can they listen to us?
You can listen to us wherever you get podcasts. I was gonna say wherever you get horror, but wherever you get podcasts. YouTube. Hi YouTube. We're on the tube. We're on the YouTube. The YouTube.
On that tube.
Tube.
too.
And then you can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Rate and review us there. 5 stars, please.
And thank you.
Thank you.
All right, producer Brian, give us that quote. What
Cowardly
is it called?
custard, cowardly custard, cowardly stuttering Stan, stuttering Stan. Boys who
Fantastic.
keep secrets don't get custard for dessert.
Keep your custard close.
Keep your custard,
custard
close,
close, baby.
but your peanut butter penis closer.
Oh God. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.